You are watching the Humanist Association of Middle Tennessee. I'm so ripped. I couldn't sleep last night, and I ended up watching Lex Friedman, and he interviewed Cenk Uygur, which I always thought he was a radical nutcase. But the more I listened to him, the more he made sense. And I realized that what he was espousing was an atheist point of view, or actually a humanist point of view, about how to run the economy so that we can fix capitalism and give it those values that almost all of us share. 70–80% of Americans agree on certain things, but we can't get them done because if the Republican Party's not in the way, then the corporatist media is in the way. But Cenk has found a way to get around all of it and get Americans what 70–80% of us want.
Communism makes no sense at all, totally opposed to human nature. Corporatism hates competition. It wants monopoly and oligopoly power. Whereas capitalism loves competition and wants the free markets. I really believe in capitalism. I don't think that there's really a second choice. On one end, you have communism on the left, and on the other end, you have corporatism on the right, okay? And I would argue that capitalism is in the middle.
I think what Cenk is saying is, what if big business acted the same way small business did? In order to build a business, you follow the rules of capitalism. Supply, demand, you try to take care of your people, you try to take care of your customers. You have to really be good, decent people. And, kindness is a part of that. When you call a business and they're kind to you, you're going to tell other people about that business. So it's humanism. That's what it is. Instead of capitalism being devoted to greed, corporatism, capitalism should be devoted to altruism, humanist values. And that's when everything works the best.
And so communism, we know, state owns all property. You're not allowed to have private property. Now, corporatism is just as extreme and just as dangerous. And that is basically what we have in America now. But if you love corporations and corporate tax cuts and everything in favor of corporations, you're magically called a moderate when you actually, according to the polling, have super extreme positions that the American people hate. And by the way, that's part of the reason for the rise of Trump. Okay, so what is corporatism? It is when corporations slowly take over the system and create monopoly and oligopoly power. Mergers so that they get to oligopoly power. That's how you rig a system, lowering the corporate tax rates, making sure that there is no real minimum wage, making sure there's no universal health care. We all become indentured servants of corporations. They take away power from the average guy, give it to the most powerful people in the world. And the Iraq War starts, and Dick Cheney starts handing out no-bid contracts. I'm like, what part of capitalism is a no-bid contract? You can't negotiate drug prices. That's the most anti-free market thing I have ever heard. It's almost like communism for corporations. They get everything, you get nothing, right? So it's preposterous, it's awful, and it kills the free markets, and it's killing this country. And it is the main ideology and religion of the establishment. If you think free markets is there is no government, you read it wrong. Go back and reread Adam Smith. He says you must protect against monopoly power. If you do not protect against monopoly power, you will have no free markets. And he's absolutely right.
What Cenk has done is Cenk has created a new word, a great new phrase. Democratic capitalism. Just think of how our lives would be different if Bernie Sanders had always called himself a democratic capitalist instead of a democratic socialist. It's all in the word. Because he's saying I'm a democratic capitalist, he is basically saying he's a moderate. But the problem is that people perceive socialism as communism. That's the way they perceive it. You can't change it. They hear socialism, and what they really think they hear is communism. That can't be fixed. But what can be fixed is the way we think about capitalism. And if we can somehow find a way to put humanist values on capitalism, then we'll have a great growth spurt and create a new and more exciting democracy. I'm Rod Thompson, and you've been watching The Humanist of Middle Tennessee.